Hello everyone, this is Prem Kumar. In this video, I'm going to talk about workgroup in Pega. Workgroup is a term which you might have learned as a very beginner or as a very fresher. I always feel workgroup implementation wise, it is little bit confusing. I'll explain you why I made that statement. I'm here to promote my video course, the Pega Masterclass, which is already live in Udemy as well as my own self-hosting platform. There are many students actively learning with my course material. If you are a fresher, beginner or an intermediate, or if you are preparing for some interviews, definitely my course can help you with the preparation. Because in the course I have covered almost everything, like from the basics to all the advanced level. And the course material will also be periodically updated with some new topics. Currently some discount program is running. If you want to find the discounts, please visit the links in the description of this video where I have provided the discount links for both the Udemy as well as the self-hosting platform. So I would say do not miss it. You can enroll at the earliest possible. Here, if you look at this picture, I have 4 different rules or data instances. We have operators, we have applications, we have workgroup or teams, and then we also have work queues. We already saw about these in the previous videos in this course. We know what is operator. Everyone who get access to Pega application will have an operator ID. We know the application, right? That is what we will be building. We will have multiple applications maybe. So applications can be created. And then we also had a dedicated lecture on the work queues. Work queues refers to work baskets where the works can be assigned that can be picked by the users. And finally, we also talked about the work group in a very brief manner. And in this lecture, I'm going to explain in detail about the work group. Work group can also be referred as teams. To start with that, let me first pick the operator. If you look at the operator can have access to multiple applications, right? Be it a developer, be it an end user, whatever operator you have in Pega, normally operator can have access to multiple applications that is provisioned via the access group. So operator can have different access groups and different access group points to different applications. So that is how operators get access to the applications. So one operator, many applications. And then the relation between the operator and the work group or teams. If you look here, I did a one-on-one mapping. Let's take an example. There is an insurance organization and they have different end users treating the customer. Normally, in a very happy scenario or almost in every scenarios, they will have separate teams and each individual person will be part of a single team, right? Even for me, I work in a Scrum team. I don't work in different Scrum teams. I have my own dedicated team. Similarly, end users can have their own team. So Pega designed in such a way that every operator mandatorily they should have a default team. There are ways to add work groups to an operator, but just for now keep in mind that every operator one-on-one with a default work group. Then what about the work queues? Work queues similar to application, we can have multiple work queues. If I am the operator, I can have works assigned to multiple work baskets. I can pick from different places. So this is how the relation, if you look from the point of operator, applications, work group and then work queues. Now let me reverse it. Let me look from the point of work group. If I look from work group, let's say a team. Team is always, from the name itself, we can say definitely you should have multiple people, right? So different operators should be part of a single team. So one team can have multiple operators. That is a bit obvious. What about work queues? One team can have multiple work queues also. Because if you think a team can process different types of cases and different types of cases can have different types of work queues or it can wait at different places, right? So definitely a team can have multiple work queues. So that is how Pega is implemented. I'm just showing you how the design pattern is, how one-to-one, one-to-many mappings are done. So one team can have multiple work queues assigned to one particular team. So what about the work group and application? I purposefully marked it as yellow because there is no direct connection. It means like you don't go to work group instance and say this work group is part of this application. You don't have a direct configuration, but there is a little bit relation which I will come to it at the end of this video. So now we have some picture, right? How a work group is designed, how a team is designed. A team definitely will have multiple operators and multiple work baskets can be assigned to a team. Okay, now let's concentrate our focus only on the work group. Now the term, what is work group? Work group can also be referred as teams, and this is one of the key difference. It is independent of organization structure. What do you mean by organization structure? Organization, division and unit. This is part of the organization structure, and every operator will be tagged to an organization structure mandatorily. If you create an operator, definitely you should specify the organization chart, right? So everyone will be tagged to the organization. Let's say I'm part of mortgage department, and different people can be part of different department, but this work group, it is independent of the organization structure. What I meant here is a work group can consist of operators who are part of different departments. It can be from different hierarchies. Let me take an example of me working in a service-based company. If I form a team, I will have developers, I will have testers, I will have BAs, I will have POs. If you look at the reporting structure, they will have different hierarchies. Pega development is part of one hierarchy, testers are part of automation tester, totally different hierarchies. So what I meant here is, normally a teams can have people from different departments. They collaborate together and then they work as a team. So that is why work group is designed in such a way that it is independent of organization structure. And the next thing is, every operator, I already told you, every operator can have only one default team. You can add multiple teams to an operator, but an operator can always have only one default team. And finally, every team, usually team will have some kind of lead, right? Similarly, in Pega, we can also have some manager role who can see how the team members are working, how many work items are there in the team members' work list. Also, they can look at the work queues, the work baskets, how many cases are waiting in the work basket. So manager can be assigned to the work group. Okay, these are all some introduction. Now let's go to Designer Studio. Look at the configuration of work group, which is pretty simple, and we will also see different places where work groups are referred. So here I have logged in into the Designer Studio, and let's first start with opening my operator ID. I already opened the operator ID. I just found it in the recent tab. So here you see my operator ID. If you go to work tab, there you can find the work group names or the team names. Currently, I am assigned to a team called default at ALife. I didn't create the team. This is automatically created whenever you create a new application. When you create a new application for the very first time, definitely Pega automatically creates some of the teams, and this is one of the team that is part of the organization. ALife is the organization, so it always creates a team default at ALife. Let me create a new team. Let's assume that I'm part of investigation team. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new team first. You can use this pointer to create a new team. Also, you can go to the regular way of records, organization, and then you have work groups. Remember, work groups is equal to team, so you have to right click and create a work group. Different ways you can create a work group. For now, I'm just giving the name as investigation. Let's go to the configuration, and from there you can see a very simple configurations. First is the settings. As I already told you, a manager. You can specify a manager who can manage the team. So manager, definitely it's going to be an operator. As I click, I can see the list of operators who can be the manager of this team. So let me say claims manager is going to be the manager of this team, and then default work queue. So every work group can have a default work queue or work basket. If you remember, during the introduction, I told a work group or a team can have multiple work baskets or queues, right? But it can have one default work queue. So this is the default work queue. You can specify a default work queue. Let me say claims wait queue is the default work queue for this work group. And then you can also have authorized managers. Again, this is managers. Definitely it's going to be operator IDs. So why do we need these authorized managers? Let's say the manager who is on leave or who is on vacation, you need to authorize or you need to give permission to other people who can act as managers, who can look into the cases, who can look into the team members. So these are all the authorized managers we can use. Really, if you have such use cases, you can very well use it. Most of the time you will have it as empty as well. So don't worry about it. It's not such mandatory field. You can leave it empty. So this is the simple configuration of the work group. And one more important thing to note is on the rule set. As you can see, this work group is part of the Climbs application. So what I did is I used the rule set of Climbs app. I used the implementation rule set. I didn't use the organization rule set. I just used the implementation rule set because this team is more related to the Climbs app application. This is one of the main thing. Remember, I made an yellow mark from the work group to the application. The link is from the rule set. I will also let you know the place where we use the rule set to get the workgroups. Okay, now the configuration is pretty simple. So whenever you create a new application, usually you don't want to create a new workgroup, Pega automatically creates. But in a production application, at some point when end users, they work as a team, and if you want to manage some cases based on teams, you can very well use the workgroup, tag the workgroup to the end user's operator ID. Now that I created a new workgroup, I can go to the operator and then I see investigation is added. I can also mark this as the default workgroup. So every operator will have only one workgroup as the default, as it is a radio button as well. Okay, now we saw some links between the operator workgroup, work queue workgroup, application workgroup. Let me open the work queue as well. As you can see, if I open the work queue, and in the work queue also you can specify the workgroup. So this is how I made the one-to-many link, because I can have multiple work queues pointing to the same work group. Multiple work baskets are tagged to same teams. So that is why I said one team can have multiple work basket, that is for sure. I'm not going to go into detail of this work queue configuration, but I just want to give you a picture that inside the property you can specify the work group. Similarly, inside the work queues you can specify the work group. Okay, now we defined a team and only I am part of the team, right? There is no other member part of the team. Let's see how we can visualize these teams from the user portal. If you launch the case manager portal, by out of the box, Pega also provides some sections that can help with looking into the team members, and you can also do some kind of team management. Now if you go to the dashboard and scroll a little down, there you will find a widget of team members. And I'm into 8.7 version. If you are using different versions, you may not be having the widget. So you can very well use the widget or add the widget into the dashboard. And also sometimes you will not find the newly added team member. Since I created the team freshly, maybe you can just log out and log in, and then you can see the reflected changes. Okay, from here, what I can see is I can see the team members that are part of my work group. And then if you look at work queues, I don't find any work queues. Remember, I mapped the work queue, right? If I go to the work group, and there I find the default work queue as climbs wait queue. So a team can have multiple queues, and this is the default queue. But why don't I see it? Because I am part of the team, I can see the team members, but not the work queue. The reason is, if I go to the work queue, this also should be pointing to the same work group, right? I made a small mistake. I should be using the new team here. Now do a save. And then maybe if you relaunch the dashboard again, this should load now. If I relaunch it, I should see the teams, right? The work queue. Now it is listing that there is only one work queue that is tagged to this team, and the configuration stays into the work queue instance. If you are more interested, you can also use the live UI and look at the code that is responsible in rendering the two widgets, the team members as well as the work queues. If I use the live UI and then try to find out the work queue, I just want to know how this is getting generated. So if I go to py work basket widget and then open the section, there I can find the source of it. As you can see the data page, it is browsing the work basket in my work groups. That is why Pega uses my work group. It should pass my work group here, and then it gets all the work basket that is assigned to this work group. It will be interesting if you look at the code also. As you can see, the data page accepts the input parameter, the py active work group. Okay, now let's go some more advanced topic. Let's say in situations, I may have access to different teams. I can have only one default team, but if I'm assigned to different teams, how can I look into the work queues that are part of my different work group or different team? As you can see already here, we are loading it from the active work group, d_portal context global. It means I launched my portal. This is my current active work group. You can tweak it. If you want to access the work queue of different work group, you can very well change this property value. Technically, if you switch the work group and pass a different value, you can get work baskets that are part of different work group. I hope you got the idea. So you can use the out of the box data page and pass the right work group name that is going to get list of work basket. Similarly, you can also live UI and find the rules that are part of retrieving the team members who are part of your own team or your own work group. Now let's go to Business Studio. In the operator ID, I have two teams, right? I have default at alive, and then I also have the investigation. Now I'm going to show you one more widget which you can always use. If you go to the settings icon and then if you scroll down and then try to add a widget, maybe I will add it here. And then if you scroll down, you can also find the teams, list of teams within your work group. You can also show the list of teams also. Let me select this and show. Here there is a little tricky part. That's why I said the implementation was little confusing. I'll show you why. Now I added this. I'm going to publish this. And then if I scroll down, I see two teams. Okay, so this is expected, you can see, right? Investigation and my team. Since my operator ID is tagged to two teams, I'm getting these two teams here. That is not right. That is how Pega implemented it. What Pega did is, whatever work groups that are part of your application, it pulls everything. It is not based on the work groups that are specified in your operator. Let me explain you again. Now let's do one thing. If I go to the default at alive, it is pointing to Climbs app application, right? If I change this to a different application stack, I have Climbs app Bix application, that is totally different application stack. And currently I'm not pointing to Bix application. So technically this work group is not part of the application, right? So if I go to the dashboard and then try to relaunch the dashboard again, I should not see the work group. That is not part of this application, but I see it. I think it is again based on the logout thing, because maybe some of the data is not getting refreshed. Let me quickly log off and log in. I just logged in. Now I'm launching the case manager. Let's verify if that disappears. Of course it disappears because that is not part of the Climbs app application. If you are interested, let's look at the code behind it. So definitely it will not be using the work group. Instead, it will be using the application. Let's go to the team widget section. And under the team widget section, you have this PY teams by not work group, by application. So definitely it is using the application. It is using the rule set that is part of the application. And then it is displaying all the teams that are part of the application and not part of the work group. If you want, you can go into the activity. See, like it forms the rule set list and then it queries and get the right work groups. Okay, enough of this widget. That is why I told you this work group is a little bit confusing implementation. Little bit, not that much, but little confusing implementation. Okay, now let's look at one more thing. There is something called My Teams. If you look into the case manager on the left panel, you will have My Teams. So here it shows the list of teams that is part of me, right? So if I create a new team here, I say Climbs approval team. Just I'm creating a new team, and then maybe I'll put the manager as administrator and then do submit. So what it does is it create a new team with the manager administrator at pega.com. So a new team should be created. If you go to the Designer Studio, go to the organization work group, you should find the newly created work group Climbs approval at pega.com. Let's open it. So why you see at pega.com here? Why it added this? Because we just gave Climbs approval and Pega automatically added its own name. The reason is Pega.com is the organization that is specified in my operator ID. That is why Pega appended this. Ideally, it always appends the organization name. In real time, you will be having a different organization. So Pega automatically creates the team name as the team name at which organization, at alive.com maybe. And you also see the manager properly added to the work group. This is how managers also can create new teams and can manage the teams. And post this, you can assign team members to this team. Okay, now we looked into different configurations of work queues. And where is the exact use case of this work group? Where in Pega application you use? Pega, whenever it creates some instances, be it work basket, work list instance, be it a case instance, it always adds the work group of the current operator. Let's say I create a new case, I create a new Climbs records case, then my work group gets added to the case. So you can always query it based on the work group, based on the team who created it. Not only the case, but also the assignments. Let me quickly show you. If I go to App Explorer and then say assign work basket, if I open a latest instance here, I just open here latest instance, and then if I search for work group, definitely I will have PX work group. It's default work group because this case was created long before, and at that time my work group was default. Let me quickly verify it. Just I create a new Climbs records, that's it. And here a new work basket assignment should be created. I can see this is created just now. If I go here and then check for work group, I see default at a life because that is my work group. And one more thing, I told you that we have a list of work groups that is added to the operators, right? Where can we find the list of work groups? Definitely you can find it under the clipboard. Now, if you have a requirement where you want to get the list of work groups that are part of the operator, you can easily go here, go to system pages, and then go under the operator. There you will find the list of work groups that are part of it. If I expand here, I see here 2 work group lists, right? 1 and 2. So these are all I can think of the use case of work group. It is always important to understand the basics of work group. I know it is a little bit confusing topic, but just visualize that work group is equal to teams in any organization. Just think in that direction, how you can use it, how you can use the work groups manager, how you can use the work baskets that are part of the team. Then you can easily implement and have a right work group into your Pega application. I hope I made it clear. If you have some questions, please do let me know. See you in the next video.